Welcome to Pathway 3. In the previous pathway, you built an interactive app and learned some tricks to make your composable remember values. In this pathway, we will take a closer look at why we did that and understand how to work with state in Jetpack Compose. A state is any value in an app that can change over time. In an email app, the email text, recipient list, title, and attachments are part of the email state and can be modified by the user. Composables, by default, do not automatically remember their state. For instance, text fields do not remember the text value you entered. In this pathway, you'll learn how to make composables work with state by making them remember the state or by moving the state outside the composable. Let's start with how state is updated and how composables can respond to and store those updates. To understand how state is maintained, let's do a quick review of how composition works. When Compose runs your composables for the first time, during initial composition, it will keep track of the composables that you call to describe your UI in a composition. When the state of your app changes, Compose schedules a recomposition. This means that Compose will rerun the composables to reflect any data changes back to the UI, such as updating a label or an input field. However, by default, any value or variable defined in a composable will be reset to its initial value when Compose recomposes the UI. Composable functions can store an object across compositions by using remember. A value computed by remember is stored during initial composition and is remembered during recomposition. You can use remember to store any type of value. Each time the app data is updated, you need a way to observe the change and trigger recomposition for composables that need to reflect the updated state. This can be achieved by using mutable state of function. The mutable state of function creates an observable state holder that allows Compose to observe the change and trigger recomposition. If the state is only used within this composable, you can keep the state locally in this function. However, other parts of your app might depend on this updated data. In this case, you need to extract the state from this initial composable function so that the data can be shared with other composables. This process of moving the state outside of a composable is called state hoisting. You need to hoist the state if the state needs to be shared with multiple composable functions, or to create a stateless composable that can be reused in your app. To move the state outside this composable, I move the remembered value that represents the state of this composable and the lambda that updates the text field composable to the method declaration as parameters, so the parent can choose the state. With this change, the composable moved its state to the parent and expects the color function to pass the remembered value and the lambda callback. Now that the state is hoisted, the parent function can use this value and pass it on to other child composables. This allows the state of this composable to be shared with other composables and make this composable reusable since the caller sets the initial state. Understanding what is state, how to remember state, and how to move state outside of a composable is an important step in your learning journey to building Android apps with Compose. Understanding when and how to hoist the state will allow you to create stateless and reusable composables that you can use to build more complex and interactive apps.